in Tennessee, so we thought it'd be great to have Rhiannon Potke from the Knoxville News Sentinel on to talk about the Alabama-Tennessee game coming up. Rhiannon, I asked you this off air. I'm going to ask you again. Your parents were pretty big Fleetwood Mac fans, huh?
Yes, sir. That's how I got my name. And it's funny, though, because now, like, the younger generation, I have no idea. So I know ones that are – I can kind of determine people's age by if they know the song that I was named after or not. So, yeah, I was, and I'm grateful for it. I love their music, so I'm not complaining here at all.
All right, let's talk about Tennessee here. Tennessee had been living on the edge all season long, and they would have these horrible first halves. They'd come out in the second half and really take care of business, almost look like the proverbial team of destiny each and every week. But that destiny caught up to them this past weekend at Texas A&M. So what's the mood around the campus right now?
Well, the mood around the players, I think ironic, it sounds kind of weird coming off a loss, but I actually think that they gained some confidence from that loss because I think people were expecting them to maybe perform worse or lose by more on the road at Texas A&M. And to commit 7 turnovers and still force it to go to overtime and, have a shot to pull it out, I think they're actually more confident from that result. I mean, the problem they're having right now is injuries are just decimating the team. So whether they can put a team on the field that it can stand up the duration of the season. But in terms of their performance, I mean, they've seen what their potential can produce once they do like they have been doing the second half. And I think to be able to rally from what they did and have done these past 3 games, I think they're gaining confidence every week to know that, you can pretty much put them in any situation and they're going to find a way to claw their way back out.
Why all the slow starts for Tennessee? I mean, it seems like it just happens each and every week.
Yeah, there is no consensus at all from anyone. They've done like thorough studies. Like they've examined what they've eaten, what their practice. They've done like everything. You guys are really analytical guys too. So they've almost overanalyzed it, and they have no rhyme or reason for it. I mean, there really isn't, other than. And there's been different situations. Sometimes they look really lethargic. Sometimes, like A&M, they turn the ball over. There's really been no consistent theme that I can even see, other than they just get behind. There's been just different circumstances each time. It's definitely concerning to them. It's been concerning to them. They've tried to prevent it, but they have no solutions for it yet. And obviously it hurt them last game. It hasn't hurt them tremendously, put them in bad situations, but they feel like they can't keep doing that, and they keep saying that. And last week showed. But I mean, I don't like everyone's saying against Alabama, you can't do that. We'll see. I mean, they've been able to do it. They definitely are trying to rectify it. They can't figure out the source of it. And execution is one thing they name, but there's just been a myriad of reasons, and it's really bizarre how they've done it almost in every single game, almost except for the Ohio game. But that was even close throughout the first half. So
Cam Sutton will be out. Jalen Reeves-Maybin, I assume, is out. Jalen Hurd was out this past weekend. They say he may be quote-unquote available for the Alabama game. Can you give us a list of who is definitely going to be playing this weekend and who's definitely going to be out?
Yeah, we're not exactly sure. Butch Jones, head coach, he kind of nixed all the injury stuff this week. He was given updates and they were changing, and he just got very frustrated with it all and said, done deal, no more talking about injuries. For sure who's out, like you named, obviously Cam Sutton's got the fractured ankle. Darren Kirkland Jr., he said last week, has a good chance to return for the Alabama game, their linebacker, which would be huge, a huge lift, because Jalen Reeves-Maybin is out. He's got the shoulder injury. He's determining whether surgery or not at this point, so he's not going to be back. Danny O'Brien was dismissed from the team, their defensive tackle, who was the one that was stretchered off the field against Texas A&M. Came back, and he was dismissed from the team for a violation of team rules, undisclosed. They lost 2 offensive linemen who we don't know their status. One looked like he got concussed. He looked pretty dazed, so he could be in concussion protocol. Jalen Hurd possibly back. I had a source that said that, a source close to him that said he would be available to play. Whether that's obviously a coach's decision whether he will play. I mean, he should be dressed. See who else? It's just there's one of their linebackers also went out. Cortez McDowell. We don't know his status because, like I said, Butch has not updated us with injuries. It's kind of like we wait and see if they come back. They've just been hit hard with injuries. And the key players, the defense especially, key players just going down each week. Offensively, they haven't been too impacted, although this last week with the offensive lineman and Hurd going out. But those are the list, and I probably am forgetting one or two that I just, Cortez Sapp, he's been out with a torn ACL for the last 3 weeks, so he's been gone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't it, that really is an unbelievable list of talented first and second team guys. You just hate to see that because you really want to see these two teams play each other at their best. But let's talk about this Florida LSU situation somewhat. Butch Jones seems a little irritated by the possibility that LSU and Florida may not play. And I'm right there with him. I think that it's grossly unfair that a game of this magnitude not be played that may determine the SEC championship.
Yeah, I'm in agreement too. I totally agree with the idea to postpone or cancel the game. People's safety, they didn't know what the hurricane would do. I'm fine with that decision. The perplexing thing is that the conference did not have a contingency plan in place. That needs to be something. I would think every conference has these in place because natural disasters in every part of the country could be something that comes up. The fact that there was nothing in place to find a way to play it at some other point, like I said, I understand you postpone the game. You don't want to take any risk. There's police and fire at other places. You don't want to take a chance with that. But they do need to play it, and there should have been something. This is what we're going to do. This is a decision. Sorry, this is happening. You might not be conducive to both of your schedules. You might not like it, but that's what has to happen because this, unusual circumstance happened, and someone has to take control of that. Commissioner Sankey seems to be kind of trying to, but not very forcefully. So I think Butch has every right to be upset because if it does come down to that, you can't. That's a huge game for both sides, and you can't not play that game and then have another team impacted by not being able to go to Atlanta and play for the SEC championship because a game wasn't played. So yeah, he said the politically correct thing yesterday that he trusts Commissioner Sankey and that he figures it'll get done. But you bet he's definitely monitoring it more. He knows he can't control it, but he's definitely monitoring what's going on there. And I do think it has to be played at some point. There's no way you can do that with such a, like you said, such a crucial result there for both divisions.
And I know it's a little bit cliche for me to do this, but I'm going to ask you for a prediction on the game this weekend.
Yeah, I'm going with Alabama. I haven't really thought about the score yet. I have to make a prediction for our paper anyways. I always say, like, every result I've said this year, I finally picked against Tennessee last week against A&M, but with a caveat of, but this team does things that surprise me every single. Nothing would shock me from Tennessee. But I just think Alabama, health-wise, well-rounded. Coach, I think that everyone will say this. Alabama is the program everyone kind of, doesn't think can have a huge disaster or a slip-up or find a way, coaching-wise, scheme-wise. And Tennessee, the injuries are just hitting so hard. I just have to think that, it's going to be tough to keep up with a team like Alabama with all the injuries that they've had and kind of all the, the dissension, the ranks and everything with Smithsell. But it's Tennessee this year, and I've got game stories that I've rewritten 17 times to prove that you never know what the heck's going to happen once it kicks off with this team. It's been nuts this year, to be honest.
Well, Rhiannon, you got the best name of the show tonight. There's no doubt about that, and we appreciate you being on with us to discuss Tennessee Volunteers.
Yeah, anytime. I appreciate you having me on.
Well, we will have you on again very, very soon. Hopefully, we'll have you on to discuss Tennessee being in the SEC championship game.
That'd be great. I'll look forward to it. Thanks a lot. Enjoy your show.